So today we're going to go over how to graph a quadratic that's in standard form when we cannot use factoring. So not every quadratic is factorable, so we're going to resort to just using our vertex and our a value. So yesterday I was giving you the vertex and the a value, but you are not just going to be given the vertex, you're going to be given the equation, so you have to find the vertex, and we know how to find the vertex. So here are the steps to get it done. You first find the vertex. Remember, negative b over 2a, plug it back in. You graph your vertex. You use your a to find the 2 points going up or down, and you always move 1 unit to the right and 1 unit to the left. So let's go ahead and see this in action in these two examples. So first example we have is negative 2x squared plus 8x minus 11. We need to find our vertex because that's how we start our graph. If we don't have our vertex, we can't graph it. So let's go ahead and do that. So x equals negative b all over 2 times a. My b value is 8, so we plug in an 8 here. My a value is negative 2. We plug in a negative 2 there. Simplify the expression, negative 8 over negative 4, and that divides to give us positive 2. So I found half my vertex. I need to find the other half by plugging it back into the quadratic. So I have negative 2, x squared plus 8, x minus 11. I'm going to substitute 2 into both x values, just like we did last week. Simplify this entire expression. Exponent goes first. Then we go from there, negative 2. This becomes a 4, plus 8 times 2 is 16. Drop the 11. Keep simplifying, negative 8 plus 16, drop the 11. Then we're going to go ahead, before we move on from this step, remember from last week we mentioned this and this. One has to be positive, one has to be negative. That checks off. And the second one should be double the first one. 16 is double of 8. One's positive, one's negative. That's how you know that you calculated it correctly. So let's go ahead and combine the 8 and the 16. These will always subtract. Will be positive 8 because there are more positives than negatives. Drop the negative 11. So my y value is going to end up at negative 3. So my vertex is 2, comma, negative 3. So 2, comma, negative 3. And I know my a value is negative 2 here. So my a value is negative 2. So I have the two things that I need in order to make my graph. Start at the vertex. I'm going to move down to left and right. So let's go ahead and graph that. So at 2, negative 3, just going to quickly rewrite it. 2, negative 3, and my a value was negative 2. So we're going to go ahead and graph that. 2 to the right and 3 down, which is going to put me right there. My a value is negative 2, which means I'm going to go down 2, 1 to the left, and 1 to the right, and connect my parabola, and I'm done. So you will need to find the vertex on your own. It's not going to be given to you when it's in standard form. Let's go ahead and do number 2. So as before, we start with x equals negative b all over 2a, our formula for the vertex. Plug in a negative 32, plug in a 4 for our b value and our a value. Simplify, positive 32, positive 8. That gives us 4 for x. Y, plug it back into the equation, 4x squared minus 32 times 4 plus 61. I'm going to substitute the 4 for both x's. Again, order of operations, exponent first, 16. 32 times 4 is going to give us 100, and that's not supposed to be an equal sign. That's going to be a minus sign. 32 times 4 is 128 plus 61. 4 times 16 is 64. And let's do our check before we keep going. One's negative, one's positive. First one should be half of the second one. And 64 is half of 128. 128 is double of 64. So we're good to go. We subtract them, we get negative 64 plus 61, which gives us a total of negative 3. So my vertex here is 4, -3. So 4, -3, and my A value is 4. So that's what I need to graph my parabola. So let's go ahead and graph it at 4, -3, and A value being 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph our vertex. So at 4 means 4 to the right, 3 down. So that puts me in this location. 4 to the right, 3 down. And my A value is 4. It's positive. It's going to be a positive parabola. I'm going to be moving 4 units up. And 1 to the left, 1 to the right. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 units up. 1 to the left, and 1 to the right. So let's go ahead and put those points down. And we're going to go ahead and connect our parabola. This is going to be a narrow parabola because my A value is a larger number. And that's how we graph in standard form. Go ahead and start your practice, and good luck.